Welcome back, adventurers. Today I have a very special video for multiple reasons, the most important of which is that I am collaborating with the Small Brit on a world building challenge that they have put together and were gracious enough to ask me to be a part of. And if you don't know who they are a wonderful human being that has a whole channel dedicated to their art and to their world of gold and bone, and it's amazing and their art is amazing, so go do yourself a favor and go check them out right now. They do live streams all the time. Now, let me preface this whole video by saying I have not really drawn in years. I've done some map stuff, I've done some drawing on the side, nothing too crazy, mostly sketches. And on top of that, the both of us had some audio issues for the first few minutes of this video, but we did the best that we can, so apologies in advance if the audio is a little wonky at the beginning, but it does get better. So how this works is the Small Brit will be providing a prompt, which we will be using to inspire our pieces, and then we will reveal them to each other at the end of the video. So with that out of the way, let's jump right in.
The way I've done these prompts is I got some friends of mine who also do character design to just give me a bunch of keywords that are really generalized, and then I've stuck them all in a weird little spinner thing just so we have something visual to randomize the list from.
Like one of those online wheels?
It is 100% the wheelofnames.com screen.
Wheelofnames.com, yeah.
Yeah, and I've stuck them in there. At the minute we have moss, porcelain, wood, ancient, mask, urn, cocoon, iron, whisper, star, mirror, and calcified.
Ooh, calcified, what a word.
I know.
Let's do carbon. Carbon's the first one that comes
Carbon, yeah, whatever comes to your mind. Carbon I like, yeah.
Forge.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm just gonna warm up my clicking hand here. Whew. Whew.
I can hear the squeaking.
Thank you. That's my chair. Right. Number 1. I thought it was going to hit moss. Mirror. Okay, mirror. 2. I maybe should have taken mirror out, but I feel like we probably won't get the same one twice.
Oh, whisper. Ooh.
Oh, okay. Whisper.
I'm trying not to react so that I keep my ideas.
No, share them and then I can steal them.
The Small Brit stole my idea.
Yeah.
Ooh, love that.
Ancient. And yeah,
Whisper mirror.
Ancient whisper mirror. And what I'll do is I'll do a 4th one, and then we can pick. We could use all 4 of the words, but it means we can drop one if we want to. If we're stuck for ideas. So this is you can pick one as a wild card.
Ooh.
Mask. Okay.
Fascinating.
So our 4 words, and we can use all 4, or we can drop one. So we've got some options there. Are mirror, whisper, ancient, and mask. And we have to design, it could be friendly, it could not be, it could be a god, it could be a boss fight, it could be a tavern keeper, whatever you want. And in whatever medium you want, but we need to make someone memorable for a tabletop RPG. Something tells me we're both going to go for D&D.
Okay, so we are creating a person.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't need to be human.
Okay. Okay, and we're doing this in any medium, so it could be literary, or it could be a drawing, or somewhere in between.
Absolutely.
And it just has to be using at least 3 out of those 4 words.
Just 3 out of those 4 words. So it could be a god, it could be like a patron, it could be a boss fight or a creature. But something that's gonna leave an impression on your players, something that lets us maybe do some...
my brain's going.
Yeah, me too. Something, I don't want to say we have to traumatize our players, but we are both DMs, so maybe yes.
Okay, I'm starting to get images in my head. That's cool.
Me too. Okay. I'm probably going to head off then, because I already have ideas, and I want to get these down.
Yeah, no, I'm going to start writing down.
Oh no, the pressure's on now. It's exciting. Yeah, I can't wait to see what you come up with.
Now, I went into this challenge with an idea for a creature, something sort of dark and creepy that would be what is called a darkling in Maladea. More on that to come in another video, but due to a lot of different factors, I actually ended up switching gears, and I decided to create one of the priests from my world, which fit perfectly with the ancient whisper vibe. And since I hadn't really thought much about how they looked in a while, I decided a cool mask or a helmet would be perfect for this. They are a faction called the Shepherds of the Vale who are present in most cities in Maladea, and they pray to an ancient god, and their whole task is to collect the dead from battlefields and bring them to the Temple of the Undying to bring them to rest, so that their bodies cannot be used for profane magical arts like they were, according to legends, said to have happened a long time ago. Now, I tried a few different designs at the beginning, but ultimately I kind of scrapped them all and went for something more of a crown/mask with a cowl underneath. I added some filigree in the mask to make it feel more ceremonial and less like it was for battle, and I added a crook because they are shepherds after all. And I loved the idea of light sort of breaking through a smoke-filled battlefield, so I thought a lantern was a pretty cool touch to add to the crook, just sort of hanging off the end. And I cleaned up the lines a little bit, mostly because I was having some artist block, or whatever that's called, and I just wanted to have something sort of mindless to do. And then I really tried to visualize what fabric would look like draped over them to make them feel almost kingly, like they were wearing this big robe. And I loved the idea of some sort of ceremonial armor that they wore as protection on the battlefield when they were first created, that has now become something of a symbol for their order. And then I started to add little details. I cleaned up the lines some more as I went. I really focused on just getting the idea across for what I was seeing in my head, and not really trying to be hyper realistic or anything like that. I started to drop in the color, and even though I am not entirely happy with the sort of Assassin's Creed's color scheme, I do feel like the color and the highlights added a whole new dimension to the piece. Now, I tried to think about a sort of ceremonial practice where they drink or sip some sort of cleansing charcoal or a tar that's part of their suiting up, like a silent prayer that they do every morning, which in my opinion makes them much more terrifying just because of their devotion and their dedication and their practice. Now, I really wanted some more pops of color in there, so I threw in a scarf velvet wrap thing that is just the colors of the Empire, and then, like any good artist, I hid their feet in this gradual and lazy gradient because I just didn't want to have to deal with that. Overall, I'm actually pretty happy with how it looks, and now the big reveal and to see what the small Brit has cooked up. Well, let's be honest. Yours is going to be a million times better. So
No,
should we?
because you've got so much good lore stuff.
I feel like we should save the best for last, and I can go first.
Dude, I don't want to agree to you going first by you phrasing it as saving it the best for last. What you mean is that you are so filled with confidence about your work that you just simply have to go right now.
I am actually pretty
Yes.
happy with what came out. But I am not an artist by I haven't. This is. I'll preface this by saying
That does. I don't judge yourself like by that stand. It's kind of the reason I'm doing the art event on my server at the minute. Is like I'm like, hey, if you've never drawn before, I don't care about that. Just go for it. It's not being judged on how developed your art is. Like, it's awesome that you're trying new things, and I'm probably gonna embarrass myself with the mechanics of mine a little bit. You know, it's all swings and roundabouts, right?
there's so many when when I'm watching you stream, I have so many questions. I'm like, how did you do that? How did you click? You clicked and it selected things that weren't selected. Like, there's so many questions.
If you ever need a hand, you know who you know. Like my door's always open. I'm always
Yeah.
happy to like help out with that stuff.
I definitely did it more like concept art. So I guess here's the big reveal. Um, I definitely did it like a bunch of concept art.
Ooh. So you
Let
went
me
with Ancient Whisper Mask. So you got rid of Mirror.
Right. Yeah, I
Yes.
tried to find a way to make all four fit, and I was like, I couldn't find a way to, because as soon as I got those three words, there's one specific piece of people piece of people that's terrible phrasing, that I thought of as far as like my world, and that's these guys here, which are the shepherds of the Vale, and
Oh, cool.
so yeah, I was trying to figure out how to make the mirror. Like, is there anything I can do to sort of rework the lore and add the mirror or whatever? And I ended up just dropping it because it was complicating it for me. And this is, I don't know how long it takes you to draw. This is so many hours of drawing.
God, honestly, I can tell, especially if like you've not drawn a ton in like a while.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Like doing anatomy, doing hands. I love the hands. I think the hands look so good. I'm just opening it bigger so I can
Oh, I know. I'm
look
looking
at
at
all
it
the
too. Oh
details on the
God, it is so.
mask. I love the stuff around the mouth and like the drips and the dots. And you've done the thing that you're really meant to do, which is drops aren't teardrop shaped. You know, they're
Oh yeah,
little
yeah.
dibbly bits. Yeah. Ah. Are
So
those so are those chroma like bird skulls on the
yeah, so
helmet?
those are ravens is just what I thought of. So I guess to give you a little bit of lore,
Mm.
the Shepherds of the Vale they're a religious order, I guess, that were started way back when. There's a time in the history of my world, Maladea, where it is rumored there's a time where supposedly like dark things rule, kind of roamed the world, and the Shepherds of the Vale sort of wore. They would go out into battlefields and collect the dead. They're grave keepers, but they would go out and collect the
Okay.
dead to avoid the bodies being used for other things, if that makes sense. It was just sort of
Oh,
to
so
get
kind
ahead
of
of,
also remove, yeah.
yeah, just to get ahead of any like necromancy or anything like that that would happen. So they go out, they would wear this protective armor to avoid getting, killed, basically, and they would go out, bring the bodies back, and it just sort of became this religious process. So you can see there the guiding light, which I wanted to add so much more detail to the lantern and stuff, but it gets the point across. And so they would use this as a like the skies were just dark, like there were clouds for like 100 years. So they would use this as and fog. So they would use the light as a way to kind of guide their way. The armor was protective. Now, in this iteration that I've drawn here, it's more of a ceremonial piece than it is anything, especially that. But because of that process of theirs of like collecting the dead, I was just thinking like what would be a cool motif to add to the whole sort of ensemble, and I was like, oh, like carrion birds. We'll just add some crows or some raven skulls, and
Yeah.
let's see the crown which they wear. It's the crown of the kingless because they're sort of above the crown. They see themselves as like I don't know, not holding to the laws of man, so they wear it as sort of a reminder that if everybody that is in the Shepherds of the Vale wears a crown, then the crown becomes unimportant. And then the fingers and the mouth. So they actually take a vow of silence. They don't talk. They sort of save all of their energy for like quiet contemplation. Very very much like old monastic monk kind of like extreme religiousness. Let's see. So that stuff that you see on their hands and their mouth. I sort of took inspiration from like Aztec culture, where they mix some sort of like, I don't know if like they light a fire, and they light some incense, and then before they pray, they actually take some of that stuff and they swallow. Well, I don't know if they swallow it, but they put it in their mouth so that it kind of runs down. So it's just like carbon. It's just carbon and sludge. And I wanted it to be more like water, so I just kind of picture this as some sort of like ashes mixed with mud and water or something like that. That they dip their hands in to purify their hands, and they also purify their mouths, because as you can see there, it says there, they only the dead hear their voice. So when they're preparing a body for burial, they actually lean in and they whisper to the body the prayers, and so that
Hence, that's where whisper comes in.
yeah,
I
exactly,
love it.
exactly.
The attention to detail that the staff and the lantern are attached by a hook, which means that the lantern can like come off. There's a really nice like functionality
Yeah,
to it. And the idea that they could like reach from a distance and kind of hook and pick up their lantern. I
yeah.
can imagine a lot of like really dynamic posing with these guys, like reaching forward and like lifting up their. I'm posing in real life and then forgetting that you can't see me. Like, reaching out this pole. It adds like a really nice dimension to their silhouette as like a character, which I
Yeah.
really love.
I also totally pictured them like going through battlefields. Like I just imagine like a dozen of them walking through like a foggy landscape, and they're just sort of poking bodies with it to see who's alive and who's not, and using I think
Yeah.
it's called a crook, right? Like the hook and the crook,
Yeah, yeah.
and like just pulling dead bodies into like piles with them.
Oh, it's
Just oh
multifunctional. I
yeah, oh yeah.
see. That's so cool.
And I really wanted to make the collar like this high, like I wanted to like make their neck feel extended, and I think I recorded it. Like if when I put it up, you'll see I went through so many different iterations before I was like, nah, this looks weird, and I just erased everything and then started over. And I went with more of a,
Gosh.
you know, robe type feel with a hood. But
The high collar still like translates though with that armor underneath. Like that gorget still gives that kind of
is that what they're
impression.
called?
Like, yeah, I think so. Please put a correction on screen right now if
Yeah,
I'm
asterisk.
incorrect. We will fact check this asterisk disclaimer. Um, because for context, for those of you watching right now, we are looking at the finished product. So I'll be watching this kind of come to life and all of your iterations at the same time everyone else is, which will be very
Right.
cool.
I do. There's one thing. So like, because of the cowl and the scarf. I know there's a term for it, but I don't know what it is. There's something about it that just gives off like Assassin's Creed vibes, and I think it's the color.
Oh, I didn't see it until you mentioned it. I
Oh,
think
okay.
because
Well,
I was squinting at the silhouette because of the character, because that's kind of how I maybe my brain's busted, but I kind of read it via shape language a lot more.
no,
And
no.
that crown kind of has removed the Ezio hood look, so I
Ah,
think
okay.
that's probably saved it somewhat. Though interestingly, I think isn't it in Assassin's Creed the hood is also based, or their symbol is based on a skull of a bird.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What?
So it's funny, yeah, that we
Well,
can
I
cut
must
this
have
bit of
missed
the
that.
audio. We can cut this bit of the audio, but yeah, a symbol for the like Assassin's Guild and Assassin's Creed is meant to be like, or it's inspired by the, I believe, if I'm once again, please put a disclaimer on screen if you do use this audio, the shape of a bird skull when you're looking at it from the underside.
I had no idea.
This is so cool. I really love it. Thank you so much for sharing it with me
Yeah,
as well. Big fan.
yeah. I would love to see
Sweet.
yours.
Oh no. Okay, give me one sec.
Oh,
Here we
wow.
go. So
Wow. We
I
went so
I
many
got
different
rid of
directions.
yeah, so I got rid of ancient and I
Ah,
went with whisper, mask, and mirror. And kind of both of us pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone a little bit. I'm just gonna send you the one of it active. This was very much me designing a mechanical thing,
oh,
and
wow.
specifically a boss fight or a
Ah,
like so you can see she's rooted to the spot. So my first thought was like environmental hazards, layer actions. You don't want whenever you do like a boss fight, right? Even if in this case she's rooted in this place, there to be like all of the players just come in and start bully circling your
yeah.
boss. You want to kind of like spread them out a little bit, so it kind of forced me to be a bit creative. And the setting is very much inspired by like the World Fair, like a magical World
Oh,
Fair where
that's
everyone's
awesome.
got their gadgets and gizmos. And to cut a long story short, it's like something that's held inaugurally on the estate of like the greatest adventurers who ever lived, and they've got like a big vault beneath the estate. And every year during this grand exhibition, they just yank a couple of treasures out of this like immense vault, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna have some competitions and some light-hearted stuff, and you can cheat, but just don't let us catch you," and all of that. And I was like, "There's 100% some abominations down there, like some
Definitely.
real like." Oh, Papa, let's get the Eldritch Abomination out to do some parlor tricks for us. Like,
Yeah.
it's got that energy. And so I literally have called this the Parlor Maid.
The parlor maid.
And
That's
yeah,
awesome.
thank you. Or Parlor Maiden, maybe. Watch this
Mm.
space.
Hmm.
And I drew a lot of inspiration from how, like the Victorians or like other groups were very funny about technology, but also very macabre. They had, I will stick a picture on screen right now. A creation called the Euphonia, which was a talking machine that had a woman's face. That was absolute nightmare fuel.
That sounds like it,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. And but they had all these things like, oh, if you have a photograph taken, it's going to steal a piece of your soul. And
Euphonia.
I kind of ran with a bunch of
Oh, God.
superstitions. Yeah, it's horrible. It's
Oh.
horrible. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no. Oh,
Yeah.
no. What is
What are
this?
you talking about? She's got cute little curls.
Oh, my God.
She's got cute little curls.
Is that a
She's working.
bellows? Is that...
Don't question it. So
That's horrifying. Oh
just
my
like
God, she looks like some sort of hellish camera, like
she's horrible. I know. And
talking
so
robotic head. Oh boy.
yeah, so I was like basing it off of a lot of that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Sorry, stuff.
Oh,
I'll
I
just
swear like
censor that
crazy.
out. Oh, perfect. So do I. Yeah, and also like all the Victorian stuff of like, oh, if you have like a picture taken, it'll steal a piece of your soul, and it kind of went from there.
Ah,
And then at the
I see
bottom
the
in the
face in there.
yeah, at the bottom in the cage bit, you can kind of see like
Oh,
a
it's
Zoe
spinning.
trope.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the ones that you usually see like pictures
Yeah,
in,
yeah, yeah.
but in this case, it's just more mirrors, I imagine, like on the inside there. So when she like gets going, it starts to like spin because it's got this real Fabergé egg thing. I can almost imagine her like
It
them
does
all
have
like
that feel.
folding into it and then folding out of it again. So you could have like a very
Oh.
dramatic reveal to the players.
Yeah, like arms crossed Dracula style, just kind of goes inside of it. Oh.
Yeah.
Or like a ballerina, that'd be even more. Just
I
like comes
think yeah, like a
spinning out.
ballerina. Yeah, absolutely. Especially with those heads, because you
Yeah.
can't sneak up on her.
Yeah, I love the joints. The joints are so cool. Like the little black parts in between the horrible flesh colored parts is just really cool. I love that like you can it almost feels like a toy that you'd be able to like remove an arm and like attach the other one. You know, like you can really feel how it like sockets in place and it's really cool.
Thank you so much. I was really going for that. I don't draw as much mechanical stuff as I should, and a lot of this was just cop out stuff. As long as it looks like it should work, you can kind of get away with a lot of stuff. That's always been my experience. So as long as it's kind of orc like Warhammer orc logic, right? If I stick enough go fast
Yeah.
stickers on this thing, it will look like it should work. And so I think the whisper in this case is more, I think how she would talk to the players because in
Mm,
so many like D&D boss fights they'll have like the boss screaming and doing all
yeah.
of that, and hers is like a whisper, but I imagine one that you can like hear next to your ear.
I love the tiny
Yeah,
little mirror
like
there too.
oh, thank you. I just kind of wanted to add some more decoration, but I also wanted to imply that I don't know, like when they suck you into the big mirror, that it's kind of filtering down and being fractured and
Yeah, yeah.
fractaled, and it's like spinning around in the reflective mirrors down there, and she's just kind of like slurping, slurping a little bit of your soul. And so I thought like the more mirrors I add, the more kind of I guess like implication of them being like reflected and refracted comes
Hmm.
into play. It was very much just like I need to keep adding these until it looks like it should work.
No, this is really cool. It was a lot of fun to tackle this.
The real big takeaway here is that we both, pushed ourselves out of our comfort zone. This is my first collab. I can't speak for you, but
Yeah, same.
this is like, it's so exciting. And especially for me, and I feel like a lot with your channel as well, it's about pushing people to try new ideas and kind of expand and push out of your comfort zone, whether that's like D&D or like mechanical stuff or art. And it would make us massive hypocrites if we didn't try that
Yeah.
ourselves. So it was really cool to kind of try that with you.
I hope you enjoyed that video. It was definitely me stepping out of my comfort zone just by doing art, which is something that I'm actually very passionate about, and it's just not something that I do a lot on my channel. And even if my own artistic career has sort of gone quite a few different ways in my life, I do think it was still a lot of fun to sort of revisit my roots and try sketching and drawing like I used to when I was young. If you're into this sort of thing, I'd love to do some more world building challenges and some more art in the future. So let me know in the comments what you thought about my piece, and more importantly, what you thought about the small Brits. Now, as always, thank you so much for watching. Forge on, my friends, and we'll see you next time, adventurers.